You tell yourself, you'll start tomorrow. Not because you don't care, but because something in you tightens. The moment starting becomes real. It looks like laziness. It feels like resistance. But what if your brain isn't avoiding effort? It's avoiding you. In a moment where you might fail, you know exactly what you should do. You've planned it, thought about it, even imagined how good it would feel once it's done. But when it's time to act, something subtle happens. You check your phone. You organize instead of begin. You wait until conditions feel right. And later, you feel the familiar mix of guilt and confusion. Because this doesn't match who you think you are. You're not careless. You're not incapable. You want to move forward. Yet starting feels heavy. Finishing feels threatening. Psychologically, this pattern isn't random. It has a shape. And it usually forms early. Many people who struggle with chronic procrastination aren't avoiding work. They're avoiding a specific emotional state. The moment where effort becomes evidence. Evidence of competence. Or evidence of inadequacy. Once you try, you stop being protected by potential. Here's the part most people never hear. If you were truly lazy, you wouldn't feel this much internal tension. Laziness is low conflict. Avoidance is high conflict. Your nervous system is working overtime to keep your identity intact. From a psychological perspective, this isn't a motivation issue. It's an identity protection strategy. Your brain is doing what it evolved to do. Reduce threat. And failure, real witnessed failure, registers in the brain as a social and emotional threat, especially if at some point in your life, being capable, smart, or promising became part of how you stayed safe. Your brain runs on prediction. It constantly asks, what happens if I do this? If past experiences taught you that failure leads to shame, withdrawal, or loss of worth, in neuroscience this involves the amygdala and anterior cingulate cortex, regions responsible for threat detection and conflict monitoring. When you approach a task that matters to your identity, your brain doesn't see a project. It sees a possible verdict. So it activates avoidance. Not consciously, automatically. Think of your mind like a security system. If attempting something could rewrite the story of who you are, from potentially great to tried and failed, the system sounds the alarm. Procrastination is the alarm. There's a psychological concept called self-worth contingency ***. It means your value feels conditional, based on performance. When your self-worth depends on success, failure doesn't feel like feedback. It feels like exposure. So your brain offers a compromise. If we don't try, we can't confirm the worst fear. This keeps hope alive. But it also keeps you stuck. You remain the person who could have been. This is why some people stay in preparation mode for years. Reading, planning, learning. Preparation feels safe. Action feels final. This isn't about forcing discipline. Force triggers resistance. Instead, you change the meaning your brain assigns to effort. Here's a psychologically grounded framework. You need to break that link. Before starting, say internally, this action is an experiment, not a statement about me. In cognitive behavioral psychology, this reduces identity threat and lowers amygdala activation. You're no longer proving yourself. You're observing outcomes. Your nervous system reacts to scope. Large goals feel like global judgment. Small actions feel local. Instead of asking, can I finish this? Ask, can I engage for 5 minutes? Research on task initiation shows that reducing perceived duration dramatically lowers avoidance. You're not tricking yourself. You're speaking the brain's language. This is crucial. Your brain expects pain because it believes effort must pay off. Change the reward structure. Success is not outcome. Success is showing up while uncomfortable ***. This rewires dopamine pathways. You teach your brain. Engagement is safe. Over time, the alarm quiets. Visual, slow pulse of light expanding outward. Avoidance thoughts will appear. This isn't the right time. You're not ready. You'll do it later. These are not truths. They are asterisk protective reflexes. In acceptance-based psychology, the goal is not elimination, but non-identification. You notice the thought. You don't obey it. Like a weather pattern. Passing through. Confidence isn't belief. It's memory. Each time you act without collapsing, your brain updates its model. Effort stops being a threat. It becomes familiar. This is neuroplasticity in action. Not dramatic. Incremental. Here's the model to remember. Your brain avoids what threatens identity. It approaches what feels safe to the self. So your work is not to become fearless. It's to make effort asterisk non-threatening. You don't remove fear. You reduce meaning. When failure stops defining you, action becomes possible. You were never lazy. You were careful. With something that mattered. And that caution made sense. Once. But you don't need it the same way anymore. You're allowed to be someone who tries without guaranteeing success. Not because it's brave, but because it's human. And your brain, once it learns you're safe, will follow.